I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use. Yeah. Barakatah Yahawah. Barakatah Yahawashi. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To your sisters, your achwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawah with the lesson. Yeah, so this is Israel Hayim. This is where we stand, right? Which really don't make sense because when you Hayim just means hay, like the kind that you feed to cattle, just hay. So I don't know, but somehow if they throw something on it to make it, throw the yum on it to make it sound Hebrew, it's supposed to mean something. So hey, but the Turkish, which is supposed to be the ally of America, right? The Turks quiet play in the Red Sea turned Somali, right? Which Trump is supposed to be, basically facing war against, making war with the Somalians, right? Into a proxy, right? See, and these proxy wars, and these are supposed to be your allies. So what did they turn into a proxy? And who against? Most likely against America, right? So your allies are coming against you. It says under development banners. So basically they're saying, look, they're going to do it under the guise of, oh yeah, we're here to help the Somalian people development, but it's a way to get something that they ultimately want. So Turkey has assumed the role of a surrogate state, a base training thousands of Somali soldiers, an airport and port under long oh shoot concessions, right? Concessions controlling its oxygen lines and national hospital bearing ik, 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 Egdorgon's name, which must be like a company. No, it's a bank. Let's see if I can say it the right way, huh? Oh yeah. Oh, it's this guy right here. Erdogan. He's a politician there. Was the president of Turkey. Oh, he was the president of Turkey, but he's a politician. Erdogan's name and a Turkish state bank, the first foreign bank in Somalia in half a century, granting Ankara a pipeline into governance. It is leverage, not philanthropy. I said Somalia receives was it protection and infrastructure. Turkey receives coastline concessions. It says deniability and a launch corridor, right? So that's what they're looking for. And what's a launch corridor for? Is that not for launching, of course, rockets towards who? Most likely towards America. Yeah, that's the Erdogan presidential over. Yeah, it says this is how Erdogan, or however you said it, intervenes in Middle Eastern conflict. All right, that's basically what he's doing. Yeah, so basically, dude's intervening in the conflict in the Middle East, right? Says, and then it says what the decisive shift in the Red Sea corridor is not in Yemen, but in Somalia. Like, whoa, like what? Like, it's something more going on here, where Turkey has built an offshore chapter of a strategic order the world refused to face. So they're making a strategic shift in what they've been doing. And Turkey has been an ally to America for quite some time. But as you can see, this is a shift from being an ally. This is them being pretty much a foe to them, pretty much in front of their face. But it says that they're doing it under the guise that they're helping him, you know, in development, you know, under the banner that, well, we're just there to help them develop, right? So it's not like I'm on war against you. So that's why they're saying it's technically like a proxy. So really actually coming against America, but not technically. We're just here to help these poor people. And that's kind of what they're doing. You know, kind of type of a sly thing that, you know, these other Edomites would do, which is America, you know, NATO and America would do, you know. But they're not liking it, obviously. And it says, world refuse, yeah, a chapter of a strategic order the world refused to face the Houthis in Iran, right, which is Persia, which is important for prophecy, filled headlines, but the center of gravity has shifted. A NATO states the projection power far beyond the borders, and everyone looks the other way, right? So this thing is going to be far more powerful than you could think, and it's a very strategic placing, right? They'll being able to what most likely fire at Israel and probably shoot towards America, right? Because this is going to be a two um, party thing, you know, right? Strategic against Israel, but also against America. Yeah. So this is Revelation chapter 17, verse 16. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." And that's Germany, UK, which is England, United Kingdom. What is it? United Kingdom, Denmark, Luxembourg, Ireland, I said Netherlands, right? Netherlands, Ireland, yes, Denmark. Okay. What else? Netherlands. Said the Netherlands, right? West Germany, France, Italy, and Belgium, right? Trying to remember. I think I got them all. Okay. And that's basically those that will hate the whore. But it also has, you know, those other allies that you have gotten throughout the years, right? Like Turkey. You know, Turkey's one of those ones that you have made allies with throughout the years, which I believe some of them go back to that because a lot of them are Edomites. But, you know, they're also known as Arabs, which basically just means mixed, right? Yeah, it says AI overview, right? I put in Turkey ally with U.S. or America, and it says yes, Turkey or Turkey is a long-standing ally with of the U.S., a NATO member since 1952, which America is basically NATO, a vital security partner, but the relationship is complex. See, and they ain't really like America like that, right? They're showing you right now their relationship is complex, right? Making a significant strategy alignment, AG, NATO, counter-terrorism. So we're together when it comes to us being NATO, right? Because they're NATO, and they make these counter-terrorism, formation, so to speak. They come together, but also and notable frictions, and so this is where the friction comes in, right? Friction point, e.g., Russian S-400 purchase Syrian Kurds, human rights concerns, making it a challenge, but crucial alliance for both nations, right? And yeah, right. Because if I'm going to buy a system that's supposed to protect me, I'm going to buy the best, right? We see what was it, the Patriots? We see what they're doing in real time in Ukraine, and they're not helping. Your Patriots are doing nothing. You spend billions and trillions, and you spend the most money on military than any other nation's ever done ever, and you're still in no comparison to Russia. And you're not in no comparison to their S-400. So if I'm gonna buy anything, I'm gonna buy the best, man. Period. But supposedly just put a friction through it. But it's more than that. As we're reading, they're linking up, which you talking about. You're going to go against Somalia. They say, hey, how about I go over here and build up your infrastructure? How about you help me, and we'll make sure we can build up your airports and your this and that and train your soldiers. Just because they don't like you like that, man. And pretty soon all of NATO is not going to like you like that, right? It's not just going to be them, right? It's not just going to be Turkey. It says NATO's security. Turkey is a crucial Eastern, actor for NATO, right? Because where it's at, it gives power to NATO to fight against them, which I believe they have one of the biggest armies besides America in NATO, right? Hosting key U.S. NATO military sites. Oh yeah, see, they have key military sites in Turkey. But if they say, hey, now you can't use our sites no more, that's crucial. Takes away a lot of power, which I'm pretty sure they're going to tell you to get out of there. They don't want nothing to do with you, especially since they're linking up with the Somalians and training them how to war. This is sites in click air base. I don't know how to say that. Air base contributing to NATO's missiles mission, right? Turkey is a key player in the Black Sea, right? Which is the Mediterranean and Middle East, right? U.S. strategy in Europe and Africa, right? And Eurasia, right? And so, and they don't like you too much, right? They're most likely gonna be the first to pull out to they don't want nothing to do with the United States. Obviously, they're showing that. They're flexing that right now. So, and for whatever reason, every time I go, it changes. So I'm gonna just read this one because it changes. Your AI overview changes all the time because it'll give you the truth, and then you go back and then it changes. But it says yes, Turkey or Turkey is a long-standing U.S. ally and NATO member since the 1952, crucial for regional security due to its strategic location. See, and that's only That's the only reason why you need to. And Turkey pretty much knows that, right? But they don't. I don't think they like the United States, and I don't think they like Israel all that great, right? But the relationship is complex, right? Marked by cooperation. Yeah, because our only connection is we have some cooperation with each other. Cooperation on issues like terrorism and Ukraine alongside. Yeah, so they probably helped them a little bit with Ukraine, right? But then they seen, like I said, they seen what's been happening in Ukraine, and your Patriot missiles and your defense, it ain't doing much. So you can get mad at me because I buy the S-400 that is doing damage. It's doing the job. It's doing the do. Oh no, but along it says significant friction over Syria, Russia, and human rights, creating a sometime strange but vital partnership. Yeah, so we got, you know, so that they NATO members themselves, but all of NATO's going to turn their back on you eventually, right? They're all they hate the whore, right? And shall make her desolate and naked, right? To expose you for all the madness that you are about. Because you see what they're saying. They're saying that they don't agree with your human rights methods, things that you're doing. They don't like the things that you're doing. You because then you'll call some people the T word, but the measures and things you go by definition, that's what you are, right? You know. So they're not feeling that whole thing of how you get down, right? So it says they're basically going to expose you naked, and she'll eat her flesh and burn her with fire, and that's going to be those missiles they shoot upon you, the hypersonic ICBM missiles, man, right? You know, see, this thing ain't gonna be no joke, right? The third war's woe, right, is it's knocking at your door, right? As soon as you implement the micro C hip, which is the mark of the beast, the fourth industrial uh, um, system, fourth beast, fourth industrial complex, right? Which is what did you call it? It's technocracy, basically, complete and utter uh, governmental control. Um, it says matter of fact, let me see what it says. Real quick, let's look at this real quick. See if I can find it. Yes, this is AI overview. This is the 10 horns in the Bible. Daniel and Revelation symbolize 10 future kings or nations that formed a powerful but temporary confederation, right? Which basically tells you that in Psalms 83, because they should have mentioned Psalms too. It says, with the anti-Hamashiach, right? Which there's no such thing as an anti Christ or anti Hamashiach, like there's just one person, right? It's dealing with the entire system, right? That's why they form this power, right? Through the laws, the legislation, and all these things, which that's what they're going to do, using the technocracy, right? The power, the army, the military, the police, the everything they control. They control the companies. Like even during the CV-19, they said we're not going to issue it. They basically just put legislation over the companies and basically force the companies to do, so they can step back and go, hey, it wasn't us. It wasn't Congress. It wasn't the president. It just ends up having to be, oh, these were safety mechanisms that each company had to apply by in order to continue to function, right? And a lot of people didn't want to lose their license. They didn't want to lose their their license as a doctor. They didn't want to lose their license as a nurse or a dentist, or you know, or a business. You have your liquor license. They didn't want to lose these things, right? You know. So it says and they're basically gonna do the same thing all over again. Just before Yahawashi, which really should say Yahawashi, return again, return, giving their power to the beast, the anti-Hamashiach, basically dealing with the system, which is going to go deeper into technology, right? They're going to use that across the board, right? Digital dollar, digital borders, right? That's ultimately what it's going to be, a complete technocracy, right? For a short time, right? To persecute believers, right? Which are the elect, before being destroyed, right? Let's see what it said more. Yeah, so this is AI overview. I asked or AI mode. I asked what's the interpretation of GMS. It says Israelites. It says the user inquiry GMS Israelite 10 horns relates to specific interpretations of biblical prophecy within certain Hebrew Israelite camps, particularly GMS, right? Yeah, particularly GMS camp. These interpretations connect the 10 horns mentioned in the Bible, in the book of Daniel and Revelation, to modern world powers, right? Or groups that they believe. See, they're trying to give you an alluring thing that they believe fulfill these prophecies regarding the end times. In general, biblical scholars interpret the 10 horns as symbolism, or symbolism. I don't know how to symbolism, right? 10 kings or 10 kingdoms, but then you can't, it can't be symbolic if the Bible's real. See, and that's the difference between plantation Christianity, because they'll give you pie in the sky type answers, but not an answer. But then play you like you're nobody, because they have these these papers saying that you're somebody because you went to a seminary, or cemetery, as the Apostle Tahar has coined it. You go to these seminary schools and you get some type of certificate saying that you're somebody, but you give us pie in the sky. Oh, well, symbolatry or symbolic symbolism, yeah, uh, right? Pie in the sky that will arise from the Roman Empire, which would persist the anti basically supposed to be anti and Mashiach rise to power. But if it's symbolism, how could it do it for real, right? And Rome is not in power right now. Rome is not in power. So what Rome is it talking about? What Rome is in power right now, right? We will talk about, America, NATO, EU, and America, the Treaty of Rome, which would make sense if the Bible's real. It would have to have real, um, you know, occurrences, things that you can link it up to. Because they're going to be exactly the same, but you're going to have there's, what do you call it? Crumbles. Going to leave breadcrumbs. It's going to leave some type of what do you call it? Evidence, right? To make it simple, right? Different theological viewpoints often varied. interpretations. Right, when there's no such thing. Right, because you have various different interpretations mean nothing unless you come in with something that's real. Right, if you believe in God, God is real. That means there's real things happening and there's tangible things. Just like when you're bringing up the mark of the beast, it's not just some pie in the sky as they try to give you. Right, it's got to be something tangible, something that's going to actually happen. You cannot buy or sell unless you have this particular mark to do this particular thing, and we know that everything is going digital, right? Yeah, because they're just trying to get pie in the sky. It says general biblical interpretation. The 10 horns are 10 future kings, or right. There's no such thing, or a govern or global, which they're going to do that. Yes, it's going to be a global thing, a global confederation of the 10 nations, right? Which they're going to do via through the digital dollar, right? Right, complete technocracy throughout the whole entire world through the digital dollar, right? Which they're kind of right, but then they're kind of wrong because they're not giving you direct answers, right? And it says often linked to a revived Roman Empire, modern modern Europe, or a future global authority, right? But they're not telling you who it is. See, basically the way through the apostles, they give it to you who it is. It's America, NATO, right? Basically NATO and the EU, through their financial strength, through their military strength. This is how they do it. You see, the first thing, what was it? The Prime Minister of the UK was saying everyone has to have a digital ID, and you cannot work without it. So this is a thing that's going to spread throughout the entire world, which they're already doing it because Vietnam, they shut down everybody's bank account because they didn't give their biometrics. They gave Ethiopia until next year, May of next year of 2026, to have all their biometrics in, right? And then here it is, the UK is forcing everyone to get a digital ID by January, in the next couple of months. So they're rushing this out pretty fast, right? So yeah, this is what it is. So, and then right here, it's like they're trying to use the talking points of the apostles, when they go into this historic view, right? Because this is the things that the apostles have already said, right? But let me finish this up. It says European future, because they ain't telling you what European future. No, we gave it to you, right? The apostles gave it to you, should I say? But it says future govern authority who will temporarily share power with the anti-Hamashiach, which the whole entire system's anti-Hamashiach. It's not one person, right? The whole entire system, starting with the shadow government, the international bankers, in the shadow government, the people who even control them, right? But it says before fighting against the Hamashiach, which is really Yahawashi, right? And then they're going to give a talking point that really the apostles came up with. Then they're going to spin it off like as if they're the ones who created it, right? And it says a historic, something like that. View this perspectives views the 10 horns as the barbaric tribes, e.g., Anglo-Saxons, right? Franks, Vandals, right? That's all the stuff that the apostles that could the fragmentation of the Western Empire in the 5th century CE form the basis of modern European nations. See, so basically they're trying to make it like they came up, like they know what was going on. You don't know what was going on. You don't know what's going on, right? The apostles gave the answers, saying the Franks and the Vandals and the Visigoths, right? And you still ain't. It's a bunch more, right? Of those top names that they're not even saying, you know. So this interpretation holds that the prophecy were fulfilled shortly after they were written. The 10 horns could present 10 Jewish generals who ruled Jerusalem. See, they just briefly during the Jewish Roman wars in 66 and 70 AD. See, they're just making up stuff. See, eventually surrendering the power to the Roman beast. No, that's not it. See, they pretended like they knew something, and then they threw a loop again, right? So, but yeah, so we know who it is. Basically, NATO, EU, and America, right? We know that's they're not trying to specify it being America. America being Babylon the Great, daughter of Babylon, not specifying that it's the one that's Rome, right? Right along with NATO, right? And then explaining that it's the whore that they hate, but it's okay because the truth is going to prevail, right? For the power have put in their hearts, right, la'ab, their mind, right, and that's what Turkey's doing. They're flexing their mind and say, hey, look, I don't like your civil rights mechanisms. I don't like how you doing this. I don't like how you doing that. I don't like how you move, right? Well, we came together on these other little things, and it's only because I happen to be NATO, but they don't really get down with America, and really America needs them for their strategic location. But once they take that away, you're in trouble. You in need of that, right? It's crucial for you to have it. That's what it says. It says to fulfill His will and to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast until the word of the power Yahawah BaHaSham Yahawashi shall be fulfilled, right? And that's to bring this place down through thermonuclear fire, man, right? Yeah. So then it says, and the woman which thus saw it is the great city, right? Babylon the Great, daughter of Babylon, right? That city which reigned over the kingdoms of the earth, and that's what America been doing. It has. That's what it just said, that America has bases in Turkey. America has bases in tons and tons of countries around the world, showing that they have that power, that rule over all these nations. But a lot of these nations are not looking at them favorably, right? Yes, it's Jeremiah chapter 51 and 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, which is America, right? And deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahawah's, right? All caps, right? Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, or QaDash, right? Vengeance, right? Because the Lord is angry with this place. The Lord is about to take vengeance on this place. NATO, EU, and America, the Lord is going to take vengeance upon you. The main place here is Babylon the Great. The strong, the focus of the Lord's vengeance is going to be on this place. But you're going to get it too. These other nations are going to, hey, you're going to feel the wrath of Yahawah BaHaSham Yahawashi, BaHaSham or QaDash. He will render unto her a recompense, right, to pay her back. Babylon had been a golden cup in Yahawah's hand, right, in Yahawah BaHaSham Yahawashi's hand, and that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine Therefore, the nations are mad, right? Because what? They're going to get the judgment coming from the Most High. And they told him there's no way the Lord is going to ever require it, right? Because that's what the scripture says. That they said the Lord won't require it, that the Lord won't remember. Well, one of the verses, the Lord must have forgot the Israelites, right? Yeah, so this is Psalms chapter 10, verse 10. He croucheth and humble himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. See, and if you look at how, you know, I don't know, I don't even know how y'all fall for it, but yeah, Trump's pushed in all these different military troops into all these different cities, and it even said that he wanted to use these cities as training grounds, but nothing big is actually happening right now. So you people are going on about your lives as if any of this is normal. So he basically crouched himself in a sense, and all of you are, you're about to fall by his strong ones, right? By that military troop, right? You prepared a table for that troop, and the Lord is angry with that. You're celebrating, Thanksgiving and Christmas and all these other different things. You're buying Black Fridays, all these different things. You know, it says, and he have said in his heart, which is his mind, la'ab. They meditate on these things. They have the think tanks. They have a bunch of these different countries and this and that, right? As it said that they're confederate, right? Made a confederation, right? And it says, and have said in his heart, la'ab mind, the power, which is talking about the Most High, which his real name is Yahawah, right? There was only begotten Son, which is Yahawashi, right? The Rawchaa QaDash, right? Right? The power of the Lord, the engine, right? So to speak, the angels. The angels get things done. Jacob's ladder, the angels go up and down, making things happen, right? Whether the good angels or the bad angels, they're all angels and they're making things happen. They're always ascending and descending, speaking to the Father and making things occur in the world. But in their mind, they thinking God is on their side and everything's good and ain't nothing going to change. We're always going to keep ruling. We ruled and we got this and we're never going to. But how was that when you were the Greeks? How was that when you were the Western Roman Empire and it fell? But you think as the revived Roman Empire, the one with the beast with the deadly wound that was healed, that you're going to come back and this time you're just not going to fall, right? But that's why the Lord said your pride has deceived thee, right? So in his mind says, the power have forgotten. He hide his face. He hideth his face, and he will never see it. So he said, hey, the Lord forgot about these people, man. Look at them. They smoking on crack. They out there twerking on every video. They doing all this different stuff. The Lord forgot about them, man. Look at them out there on them pills and them fentanyls and whatever else, standing out, slumped over. And the joint, the vision I seen of Philly, oh, horrible, bro, horrible. Zombie land, man. Philadelphia is like zombie land, man. It's crazy. But that's going on all over America. Trash is everywhere. Zombies everywhere. High off these fentanyl, slumped over, sleep but awake, or whatever it is that they're doing. It's crazy, bro. Right? It says, arise, O Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, QaDash, O power, lift up thy hand and forget not the humble, right? Which will be the elect, right? Wherefore doeth the wicked contend the power, right? Yeah, they come against the Most High. They didn't change his name to Jehovah and Yahweh, and his name from to Jesus and Yeshua, right? When his real name is Yahawah and his son's name is Yahawashi, then they conflate the two. Then now Yahawashi is Yahawah, or God is, and Jesus is God. They're the same person, but then they're two different things. What did they say? It was like some weird thing. 3 persons, same something. Meaning there's still one person. I don't know. 3 different persons, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, 3 different persons, but then they're the same person. I don't know. It's crazy. Somehow it made sense when you were a Christian, but when you're not you actually start thinking like, man, that don't make sense at all. At all. Right? Now, the way we explain it, the way the apostles explain it, then that does make sense. Yeah. 2 different persons on one accord, and then the angels obey and make things happen, then that makes sense. They're just on, because the Father is greater than the Son, and they're on one accord. But ultimately, the Son, being the intercessor, could basically hash out a deal with the Father, right? And give you some more time. So it's not all just, yes, sir, and they just doing like that, or they're just one person, and it's one continuous thought. Because how did he make intercessor if it's just one continuous thought? If it's just one person? Or do you make intercessor with yourself, with your own thoughts? Well, no. If you're going to have someone, because no one can counsel the Most High, obviously. But if he can give a good enough reason to say, hey, look, Lord, this guy's been doing this and that, give him a little more. I think he could come around, or let's just see what he do, because and it's really up to the Father to say yes or no. Nah, I don't want to wait till him going to take him out the earth right now. And of course, Yahawashi like, okay, well, it is what it is. Then, but his as intercessor should be, hey, Lord, this, and then if the Father goes, you know what, yeah, give him some more time. Then boom, he give him some more time, or whatever, however it goes, But it's not just one person, but they're 3 different people, and all 3 of them are talking to themselves, but it's still one person. Arise, O Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, QaDash, lift up thy hand, forget not the humble, wherefore doeth the wicked contemneth the power. He hath said in his heart, La'ab is mine, thou wilt not require it. See, that's what it is, man. He said the Lord forgot about him, and the Lord won't require it. So we ain't worried about nothing. We're just going to do whatever we want to do to these people, right? That's why they did the things they did. The delectable negro, they ate you, they whipped you, they hung you, and then now they could just come in and well, there's no more DEI. We're gonna rip apart, and we're gonna create this doge and rip a thing. Oh, you know what? By the way, if you got a bachelor, that don't mean anything. You worked your whole life to get this bachelor, to get this different thing, to get a certain amount of money, but now none of that matters. Now we're gonna throw in AI, we're gonna rip your jobs away, and then we're gonna tell you that there's a digital dollar that you all have to require to get these things in order to survive. You gotta get a digital ID, put your biometrics on everything, and without these things, you cannot survive. Because they love you. Right? This is what they want to tell you, but you're gonna fall for. You're gonna be like, yeah, this guy loves me, right? This is better than what the Most High has for me, right? And you're gonna say you want to be a slave forever, right? Yeah. So this is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 12. Your mother shall be sore confounded, right? Because you're, what is it, 7 heads, and you're the 8th that come from off the 7 heads, that comes from the 10 horns, and you're of the 7, right? Which you come from the United Kingdom, right? Which is England. Great Britain is your mother. She's sore confounded, right? Because people are gonna hate Europe or England, Great Britain, the UK, because of their ties with you, and you're basically running the same play too. On top of that, right? Really, because your play comes from them, because they technically rule over America, but you're the face of this whole thing. So because you're the face, the people are angry with you, right? Because you like to be the number one guy, which that's why they put the perfect guy to be in there, the fall guy. What they call, is it called a patsy? I think it is. Wait, let me look at that up. Right? Yeah, this is a definition or dictionary. Patsy. Patsy. Right? A person who is easily taken advantage of, especially by being character or being cheated or blamed for something, right? And that's what you are, man. You want to be the president. Your whole thing is, you're trying to do the thing, but this is for the elite. You're nobody. You're a little guy, right? Trump is a little guy, right? But for him, it's a flex or something, He likes you like the limelight. They're gonna put you out there. You're just a patsy, and everybody's gonna put you out there to be blamed, right? Yeah. So you're the one who's just to be blamed, right? So with all that, your mother is gonna be like, oh, and all them European, they're gonna distance them, which people are doing that now, and then your actions is furthermore distant you. No one really wants to deal with America, and especially with someone who's a paper tiger and then trying to be a bully, right? It just don't add up. So you're ostracizing yourself with all this madness that you're doing, And how much more once you put the digital clamp down on the entire world, and no one's gonna really like it, right? Not even some of these elites that's going with it. They're going along with it right now because I guess they kind of have to, for prophecy's sake. But in the end, they're gonna realize, oh, we effed up. We're mad, right? That's what I said. And they should be, and the nations are mad at, right, at you, right? These shall hate the whore. They're mad. They're gonna realize, damn, we thought everything you were doing was great, because it does seem. Think about it. And no generation that ever ruled in empires, they've never had this digital ability to do this technology, and they haven't. But when you're gonna take it, instead of using it to actually truly better lives, you're gonna make it to where it's a digital prison, and no one likes being in prison, right? It's just really gonna, right? It's gonna fuel everything, right? You're in the midst of World War III now. It's gonna fuel everything. Not to mention the Lord, man. The Lord is gonna speed it up even faster, right? Right? You're gonna be like Mr. Clark. Move expeditiously, move expeditiously. Yeah, man, everything is gonna move expeditiously, man. It's gonna be fast, man. Right? Behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. The hindermost of the nations, right? And what's the hindermost? Hinder meaning behind, the last, right? The last nation to erect, that's only been around, 200 something years. The hindermost nation is America, Babylon the Great, right? Shall be a wilderness, right? And that's how many missiles they're going to shoot on this place, right? To turn this place into the lake of fire. A dry land and a desert, because of the wrath of Yahawah, right? All caps, right? Through his only begotten son, Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, QaDash. It shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goeth by Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, right? That great city, shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues, right? I mean, they're going to like you. You're going to be a reproach. You're going to be naked. Everybody's going to bring up all your atrocities. You're trying to remove certain things out of museum, and you're trying to move talking points, and you want to make critical race theory and this and that, but you're not going to be able to escape from it. And the more you try to escape from it, the more it's gonna. Well, it tells you that hell shall meet thee at thy coming, right? And part of hell is being ridiculed, right? That's the reason why the Lord said for us to be humble first, right? With great reward comes with great humility. We had to come to a place of being completely and utterly humiliated, man. Right? Transatlantic slave trade, redlining, this and that, all these different things, the all scouring, the laughter, the mocking, the crack and the drug epidemic, the gang banging, even people, oh, you know what, you need to stick together like how the Chinese do. You need to do like us Chinese. And if you left you, and really you're not doing it because you give a damn, you're doing it like you're really mocking. Oh, you'll be like this, right? But you're part of the of a thing. You're in Psalms 83, man. Right? Right? I might have to get that too, real quick. You know, because that's when all of a sudden you're going to be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Now you want to do it, right? Now you're mad. Now the nations are all of a sudden mad because they're gonna realize, damn, you said that the Lord wasn't going to remember them, right? The Lord wasn't going to require it. We could just put them in the thing. We could laugh at them. We can mock them. We can make sport of them, and ain't nothing going to happen, right? That's probably why even they call a joint. Was it the athletics things? That's probably why they call it sports, right? To make sport of you, right? Because those are called. You're really meant to be called athletes. You're athletes, not sports. But it's so they can make sport of you. Oh, it's nothing like a nigga with a ball. You know what I'm saying? Even that Michael J. White, he did the Blood and Bones, and that white dude said, hey, look, we didn't like our niggas with balls in their hands, right? We don't want nothing else from you. You're here for entertainment. You're just a monkey with a ball. So they make sport of you, right? Shut up and dribble. Some Edomite chick who, she's a woman. They barely got their rights to vote. And it really came off the backs of so-called black men and black women who went through something to get some type of rights. But she has nerves to say, hey, shut up and dribble. See, you love the devil, but you're gonna get the devil's reward, man. You jakes, man. Right? Because the Lord is wroth with this place, man. Right? Yes, right here. Psalms 83 and 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, right? Which is the Israelites, right? You so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, and you Israelites that's around the world. We're not counting you out, but we know that the bulk and the main focus of salvation is here in America because those missiles are going to turn this place into the lake of fire. So it is highly, highly important that the Israelites here wake up and realize that they're Israelites. But we know a lot of 2/3, 66.6% of them is not going to wake up here in America. They're going to do their own thing, and the thing that was meant to be for their benefit is going to be made a snare unto them, right? So it says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones, right? What are you hidden behind? Black, Negro, right? Especially that tribe, the tribe of Judah. You're black, you're Negro, you're Afro-American, right? You're all these things, and then even the other tribes hate you, right? Because you're the head tribe, because Yahawashi comes out of the tribe of Judah. He would be what they would call a Negro, right? A black guy. The N word with the ER on it, right? The right? You know? And, hey, in some cases they might have, or angel, you know? You know, the scripture talks about you could be entertaining angels unaware. You might have seen an angel and you call them you filthy N-word, man. And not knowing who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, hey, would be a so-called N-word, right? It's a Negro, right? Woolly white afro, dark skin, right? Dark brown skin. It says, but the hidden ones, right? Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Dominican, Colombian, right? You know, was it what's the one? Venezuelan, right? Yeah, 'cause Trump after Venezuela, whatever, right? Right? Those are Israelites, man. Right? The majority of them, right? Except for the ones the Edomites that then crept in and try to start calling themselves after the land, right? Trying to cleave, But the Lord said that you're not gonna you're not gonna be able to cleave, man. You're gonna try to stick to the cleave in with the actual seed, and you ain't gonna be able to do it. You're gonna try to mingle the clay with the iron and not be able to do it, which we understand that also as your your nation, your rich nations, and your poor nations, but also going into, understanding that you're trying to mingle yourself with the people, right? Which would be the people who are actually people. The Israelites are actual real people. You're not a people, man, right? You know, but yeah. To keep going, let me go and keep finishing up. So they have said, "Come, let us cut them off from being a nation." See, because we're the real nation, right? I mean, there are nations, but the true nation that the Lord loves is the nation of Israel. Because if you think about it, the Lord said He is likened the abundance of them as a drop that falleth from a vessel. The Lord said He has likened them as a small dust of the balance. So, I mean, if you want to get technical, you are a nation, but technically, according to those precepts, you're really nothing, right? At the end of the day, what nation really matters? It will be the Israelites, the only nation that exists. The Lord's firstborn, His fervent lover. Other than that, you're nothing. The only purpose you're going to ever serve is to be our slaves, or to be our vassal states, right? To serve and bring your riches, the riches of the Gentiles should come unto us continually, right? Yeah, and that's all you're meant for, man. Right? That's what you're gonna find out. But it's gonna be good for you. You're gonna be eating GMOs. You're not gonna be breathing in plastics in the air. You know what I mean? You trusting in Esau. This is why you're mad. And look, you trusting in Esau. You want to come together, right? You didn't want us to being a nation that to cut them off from being a nation that the name of Yasharallah, not Israel, because they say Israel every day in the news and all over the place. You can say Israel, but Yasharallah is not known, right? Maybe no more in remembrance, for they have consulted together, right? All these nations with one consent, and they are confederate, right? Didn't it just say that? How they're confederate, how Turkey is confederate with the United States, with the UN, and all these things. They're confederate together. Confederate against thee, right? Against Yahawah, against Yahweh, BaHaSham, Yahawashi's people. The tabernacle, the whole house, because that's what tabernacle means. The house, the whole house of Edom, right? All the Edomites are against us. That's why we don't try to dice you up. Oh, well, these are these different type of white people, and then these are these kind of white people. No, you're all Edomites. You're all the self-proclaimed so-called white man. You're all going into slavery, right? Unless you have the appearance of a so-called white man, but your spirit is of the Israelites, then you could be safe. But if you could be looking like a so-called white, but your appearance look like a white, but you're of another nation. You could be Ham or really Elam or Moab. You can go into slavery, and then you'll get your land back or whatever, you know. But Esau, he's going to get Obadiah 1:18. There is no salvation for an Edomite at all, not whatsoever, because the whole house of Edom is against us. The tabernacles, all the houses, all 5 tribes of Edomites are against us, and the Ishmaelites, right? We know who you are, right? Ishmael, right? You know who you are, right? Moab, the so-called Chinese, the Hagarenes, which are Ishmaelites, also, right? It says and Gabal and Ammon, which are the Japanese, and Amalek. See, and that's the head of all the heathen nations, which is Amalek, right? He should be first of all the nations. The scripture said he's the top Edomite devil, right? Because he's the international bankers. He's the ones pushing the MOTB, which are those small hats, right? The one that's G-siding over in Gaza, right? Right here, the Philistines, right? Which those are people who are meant to be in Gaza, which are Hamites, right? But other people call themselves Philistines now, right? You know, those people that's in the people that's called Palestinians calling themselves Philistines, because that's basically you're saying you're a Philistine, but Philistines are Hamites. They're so-called what they call Africans, but that's even a fictitious word to come up with African, right? It's the land of Ham, and then whatever tribes they're from, right? with the inhabitants of Tyre, right, which is another Hamitic tribe. It says Ashur, right, which I believe Ashur is I think he might be Shemitic too, because it's crazy. Most of the tribes that's against us are mostly the head tribes that's against us are mostly our own brethren, right, which come out of Shem, right. But the other nations come against us too, right? Because I believe that's Shem. He comes out of Shem, but he's not from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Because that's what it takes to be the people, right? The Lord's chosen people. Also joined with them, they have the hope in the children of Lot, right? Which would be Moab and Ammon, right? And probably some of them other nations, like you got um like maybe Lot great grandchildren or whatever. Moab's children, because Moab had children, so they had to. Moab is they probably broke up in tribes, because you still got the North Koreans and the South Koreans, right? That'd be like the children of Lot, right? And they're against us, right? And it says, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, yeah, as to Jabin at the brook of Kishon, right? The Lord must destroy them, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth, right? See, and the Lord's going to destroy all you nations, man, and take your crowns, take your rulerships, right, and give it to the Israelites. And you'll have your little land, but the Israelites are going to be over you. We're going to be kings and priests over you, telling you, thus saith the Lord. You can't do that. You ain't gonna eat no roaches. You ain't going to eat this. You're going to be eating monkey brains. You're not going to be eating what's it, poisonous fish that you gotta write a waiver for. Some what everything's exotic. You're gonna eat this exotic fish that if the cook don't cook it right, you'll die from it. But let's just do it anyway. Some madness, man. Eating live freaking squid, yeah, man. Ain't none of that happening, man. Rats and pigs and what is it? Shrimp, crab, and lobster, swine. None of that's gonna be happening, man. Right? Yeah, and make their nobles like Orin or Rib. Yeah, or Reb, and like Zebeh. Yea, all their princes as Zabah and as Zalma Zalnama. Yeah, so this Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 14. It says, put yourselves in array against Babylon, against America. Yeah, the daughter of Babylon, right? Against Great Britain, against Israel, all those ones that's Confederate to her. But then all those other ones going to say, hey, I ain't with the stuff that Israel's doing. I ain't with what America's talking about. And they all going to team up and come against Israel and come against America, right? It says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows. So, hey, Russia gonna shoot every single missile at Israel and at the United States, right? Yeah, because the second woe and the third woe comes quickly, right? Right? You thought it was all a game with Pearl Harbor and all these other things that you were doing, but the Lord's gonna show you, man. Right? Right? You needed a false flag event to start World War II. You're gonna need a false flag event to start World War III or whatever. Hey, but it's all gonna be your demise, man. Shoot at her, right? All shoot, put all, it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against Yahawah, BaHaSham Yahawashi, BaHaSham Rawchaa QaDash. Shoot against her round about. She have given her hand, her foundation. She's given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. Right, the defense system ain't gonna work. It's gonna get thrown down. Right, for it is the vengeance, right, of Yahawah, BaHaSham Yahawashi, BaHaSham Rawchaa QaDash. Take vengeance upon her. Right now, it's your turn to take vengeance. It's Yahawah's vengeance, but the Lord wants you to take vengeance. All these nations that hate you, Turkey, your mother, the United Kingdom, what is it? Iran, Iraq, North Korea, South Korea, Japan, all these nations that have the ability, and of course, Russia, right, which is the Meeks, right, all of them to bend the bow, right, and they're gonna take vengeance upon you. Take vengeance upon her. She have done as she has done. Do unto her, right? You done to these other nations, especially Japan, right? Did you not do that to Japan? Did you not drop Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and some more, all sorts of some more bombs just to test it out, right? Do unto her, man. You did it. You shook nations and kingdoms, right? You make fire come down from heaven, so fire from heaven is going to come down upon you. So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. Right? Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the apostles, bishops of Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect. The elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. And the Bible ball, Kwam Yasharallah.